Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, Keshav, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
That day you left in the middle of the class, and yesterday you did not turn up. Okay, since you missed out, beta, again, what to start with you, I don't know. There are so many things you've missed out. So we'll have a very quick revision of what we've read, okay? Background of the chapter you had already read with me.
Yes,
Just read the introduction part. I'll read the first 4 lines, then I'll scroll down, you read, and I'll explain it to you quickly. In the early decades of 13th century, we're talking about 13th century, beta. Is it okay? Now, all the people in the European continent and Asian continent, they realize that now there's a big danger coming towards them because a new political power is originating in Central Asia, that is Genghis Khan. We talked about this tribe of Central Asia, Mongols, under the leadership of Genghis Khan. He's becoming so powerful that big empires also in the Euro-Asian continent, they realize now that yes, this Genghis Khan can be a danger for us. Genghis Khan had a political vision. He did not want only to capture the nearby areas, he wanted to rule the entire world. So this is the part we are going to read. The first part, I'll explain it to you, then you read beta. This Genghis Khan, he said that he has got a message from God, mandate, instructions from God that he should rule the world. Okay, what did he say? I have got a message from God. To do what?
to rule the world.
Beta. So his entire lifetime went in bringing all the Mongol tribes together, trying to make an army towards them, just close to North China, all these Eastern Iran, Russian, all these. So his messengers, his descendants, I'm talking about his grandsons basically. Sons were not successful. We'll read about the grandsons in the next paragraph. His descendants, when I say, I mean his grandsons. They traveled to different countries to fulfill Genghis Khan's vision. What was his vision?
To
Which
rule
he
the
said
world.
to rule the entire world. In this chapter,
Yes.
you'll read that Genghis Khan was not his original name. Why did he get this title? We'll read that also. First of all, quickly read this. You will read about 2 grandsons of his. their names and how did they proceed? What did they do to fulfill the vision of Genghis Khan? Read the paragraph quickly. We've already done it yesterday, so I'll give you a quick revision. Let me know, Keshav, once you finish reading.
Okay, ma'am.
Yesterday, Snehal and Anjali was there. You and Anushri were not there. Today you are there. So those two girls are not there. Yes, beta? Read?
Yes, ma'am.
You read about his first grandson, no? What was his name? Quickly share it with me. What was the
Ma'am, it's
name of
Monkey.
Yes, it is Monkey. Very good. Where did he go, Monkey, to fulfill his vision? Genghis Khan's vision? Which area did he visit?
Ma'am, France, and he warned the France ruler Louis IX in the heaven. There is only one eternal sky on the
Yes.
earth.
Very good. So he went to France and he threatened the ruler of France.
Yes,
Who was in France that time?
Louis IX.
Yes. And he told him very clearly that on earth there can be only one ruler and that is Genghis Khan. And who had given this message to Genghis Khan to rule the world according to Genghis Khan?
The God.
Yes,
God.
the God had given him the message. Yes. So he went to France. He gave this message to the ruler of France very quickly. Name the ruler who was ruling France at that time.
Louis IX.
Okay. Fine. Then what happened next? Yes, beta. What happened after that? He said, if you do not pay
That
attention, saying, how did he
yes,
threaten?
ma'am.
How did he threaten? What words did he say? Our country is far away, our mountains are mighty, and our sea is vast. So much
Wow.
of confidence he had. So he said, eternal heaven
Yes.
knows that only we can rule the world. And these were not empty threats, no? What he said, he proved it
Yes.
also. Is it okay?
Yes.
Now read about the second grandson in the second paragraph. His name is Batu. What was the name of the first grandson?
Monkey.
Monkey. And he went to France. Now read, where did Batu go and what did he do?
Ma'am, done.
Yes, Keshav. Tell me about the second grandson. What was his name?
Ma'am, the second grandson of Genghis Khan, his name is Batu. Another
Yes.
grandson of Genghis Khan, devastated Russian land up to Moscow, seized Poland and Hungary, and camped outside Vienna.
Yes. So basically, Moscow. Moscow means which country?
Russia.
Russia. So Russia, Poland, Hungary, Vietnam, all these places he has gone to spread the message of whose message they're spreading? Genghis Khan.
The God's message.
Yes. And what was the God's message, Keshav? Who should rule?
Genghis Khan should rule the entire world.
Very good. So Genghis Khan is also doing his efforts. His grandsons are also going to different places, threatening people. Okay. Now let's go
Yes,
further.
ma'am.
Okay. How did the Mongols create an empire that dwarfed the achievements of the world conqueror Alexander? Now we're going to read in this paragraph. We say that the greatest emperor was Alexander. But the Mongols made such an empire that even the Alexander's achievements looked as dwarf. What do you mean by dwarf?
Ma'am, small.
Yes, beta. They looked small. How did this happen? ऐसा क्या? What was it that Mongols did that even great Alexander's achievements seem to be smaller compared to the achievements of Mongols? Read the paragraph quickly. Let's find out how they became. They were a small tribe, if you remember, nomadic tribe.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did they become so powerful? France, Poland, Russia, Vietnam, all these areas, they're trying to bring them under themselves. Read quickly the next paragraph. We'll have a quick revision. Are we done? Are we done?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what did we read in this paragraph? Very quickly. Come on.
Ma'am, the Mongols were a diverse body of people linked by similarities of language.
Tell me, Mongols used to speak different languages. For example, which languages?
Ma'am, Tatras, Khitan, and
Yes. Mhm.
Manchus to the east, and the Turkic tribal in the west.
Very good. So, were all the Mongols speaking the same language?
No, ma'am, they are linked by similarities of languages. They
Yes,
speak
very
different
good.
languages. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Pachi. Then we are reading about Mongols only. You have already read about them. Some of them were pastoralists. Who are pastoralists? Who keep moving from
Ma'am,
one place to another place with their
yes, ma'am.
animals. They're known as pastoralists. And the
Pastoralists,
others were, who were the others?
hunter and gatherers.
Very good. So these pastoralists, which animals they used to generally keep?
Ma'am, sheep, goats, and camels.
Very good. So they used to keep moving in the steppes of Central Asia. That is the grassland, steeper grasslands.
Yes,
They used to
ma'am.
keep moving
Grass.
between Central Asia, which is presently which state? That area, grassland of Central Asia. What do we call it now? Mongolia. What is that place?
Mongolia, the modern state of Mongolia.
Yes, beta. It's a geographically beautiful place. If you can see on your screens also, it has got
Yes, ma'am.
plain. It has got snow-capped mountains. The name of the mountains are Altai Mountains. What is the name?
Altai Mountains.
These mountains are all snow-capped mountains, Altai Mountains. So if on the west you go, you have Altai Mountains. If you go towards the south, you have a desert, that is Gobi Desert.
Gobi Desert.
And we have two very famous rivers there, Onon and Selenga. Onon and
Selenka.
we have springs also. So we have luxurious grasses, means we have a lot of green grass over there. So this is about the people who were nomads. Those people who used to involve in hunting and gathering, they were living in the northern side of this area. Okay, Siberian forest somewhere. They were not that rich. They were humbler. They were not rich, beta. Okay, the others ones were rich. So how did these
Yes.
people, these hunters and gatherers, make money? They used to sell the fur of animals. What used to they sell?
The fur of animals.
Yes. So let us read. So we have one group of people who are living in the south who are well off and rich. There is another group of
Yes.
people, Mongols. The pastoralists were
They
rich
live
people.
in
Huh. And the hunters gatherers were very humble. They were not very rich
humble.
people. Yes. And what used to they sell for their earning? What were they making money by?
Fur of animals.
Yes. Now read the next paragraph, Keshav. Let us discuss it. Finished reading?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have two groups of people. One of them were rich people. They had a lot of animals. They were pastoralists. And the second group was
Hunters The second group of hunters and gatherers, which are
Very
more
good.
humbler than pastoralists.
Okay. Very good. What else did you read? Tell me. Come on, share it with me. What else did you read in this paragraph?
Yes, ma'am. There was extreme of temperature in the entire region, harsh long winter followed by brief dry summers. Agriculture was possible in the pastoral region during a short part of the year.
So we had extreme temperatures, no?
Yes,
Extreme
ma'am.
temperatures. Okay. What do you mean by extreme temperature? If it is cold, it is very cold.
Very
And
cold, and if it is dry, so it is very dry.
so they are facing, Mongols are having one problem that they have what kind of a
Yes,
temperature in areas? Yes.
for agriculture, they have the pastoral region.
So beta agriculture was not possible during the entire part
Yes,
of the year. Only very few months they could do. So they did not take to farming. They did not do only farming. We had another nomadic tribe, Turks. They had later settled down and started doing agriculture. But Mongols did not settle down for agriculture. The reason was they knew that agriculture is not going to be fruitful for them. The climate was not that
yes,
it was them. Okay. But there was one problem. They are not doing agriculture. Only by pastoralism and by hunting, the population was not, they could not feed the population. So Mongols, they used to live temporary lives in small tents. What are these tents called? Look at this word. Gaves. What were they called,
yes,
beta?
yes,
Gaves. They
yes.
used to live in these tents. And they used to keep moving from winters to summers, pasture lands. Wherever the climate was suitable, they used to shift, put the tents there and live there. Let's read this paragraph, ethnic and language ties. Read this one. Yes, Keshav, tell me, what did you read?
Ma'am, In this paragraph, they mention that the language ties unit, united the Mongols people, but due to scarce resources, their society was divided into two sections.
Very good. So although they were united together with languages, the language tied them together.
Yes,
Isn't it? This is what we have done. But we were talking
yes,
that the
ma'am.
resources were very scarce. So the society was divided into groups. Which families were larger? The rich ones or poor ones?
Ma'am, the rich families were larger.
So they had more members, they had more animals, they had more of lands, they had many
Yes,
followers. That means they were very influential people. And they used to often have natural calamities. Sometimes the winters were very cold, harsh. So whatever stored
yes.
provisions were there, what are stored provisions? Reserve food. What do we mean by stored provisions here?
Reserved food.
Yes. So when the conditions were very harsh, even there were times when all the stored food finished. Either it was very cold winters or there was a drought when there was no rain, would force the families to forage further afield, leading to conflict over pasture lands. So these rich families, they used to come together and make a big group. And then there were conflicts, there were fights over lands in search of livestock because they did not have anything to eat. So they used to attack another groups and eat their animals. When the conditions were very harsh, they ran out of their reserved stock of food. So the rich families, they used to come together and make a bigger group. Obviously, we say richer families had more members, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So when 6 or 8 families come together, they had more members. They used to attack and they used to eat the animals of others. Groups of families would occasionally ally for offensive and defensive purposes around richer and more powerful lineage. So those people who are rich and powerful, they used to ally themselves. Ally means ally means to become friendly, to come together. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So these rich families, they used to come together, and basically the rich and powerful families used to come together. But beta, these confederacies. Confederacies means a group of rich families together, but usually small and short-lived. They used to just ally together. They used to just make a group only for a very short span of time, only when the problem was there. And what was the problem we talked about? They did not have much to eat because of what conditions?
The scarce resources or extreme weather.
Yes, beta. So this Genghis Khan also, he had a confederation, means it was a big group of rich people in which we had members
Mongols.
from Mongol and Turkish tribes. Okay, which tribes? Mongol
Yes, ma'am.
tribes and Turkish tribes. So in this paragraph, we have read that there were richer people, there were poor people. Rich families were larger families. And whenever the time was harsh, these rich people used to come together and ally, make a group. These groups were known as confederations. What were they called?
Confederation.
Genghis Khan confederation was a big confederation. Okay, it started somewhere in the 5th century, Attila. There is a difference between confederation of Attila and the confederation of Genghis Khan. Let us read how. These two paragraphs, let me discuss quickly with you. Once you finish reading, let me know, beta. Finish reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what did you read now?
Ma'am, unlike Attila, however, Genghis Khan's political system was far more desirable and survived its founders. Durable and survived its founder. It was stable enough to counter large armies and superior equipments in China, Iran, and Eastern Europe. And as they established control over these regions, the Mongol administrated complex agrarian economies and urban settlements, sedimentary societies. They were quite distant from their own social experiences and habitats.
So, beta, how was it different? In Eteria also they had confederations. They had group of people who used to come together whenever the conditions were bad. But there, they were not so stable. But when we talk about Genghis Khan's confederations, were they more stable politically?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was the main difference we had in confederations of Etelia, there's a place, and the confederations of Genghis Khan, beta. One more difference is he had a larger army. They had better equipments, okay? And when they established controls over the agrarian economies, agrarian economy means the agriculture, the people who are involved in what? People who do agriculture. Such kind of a country like India, it's an agrarian economy. Most of the money comes from agriculture. Is it okay? So they had sedentary societies. Sedentary means what do you mean by sedentary? Permanently settled. What does the word sedentary mean? The word sedentary means permanently settled. Okay. Now we are going to read about the difference between nomadic and agrarian economies. Have you read the difference? Can you tell me? बहुत बढ़िया.